Perfect, thank you.
Good to go.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are going to be talking about Spark today. My name is Maureen Breck. I am the Talent and Education Director with the Greater Binghamton Education Outreach Program, or GBOP. It is an affiliate organization of the Greater Binghamton Chamber of Commerce. I'm going to have the pleasure of moderating today's Spark discussion panel. Spark is a collaboration between the Chamber, BOCES, SUNY Broome Community College, Broome Tioga Workforce, and the Broome Life is Good campaign. And the purpose of Spark is to be able to really showcase careers and highlight the pathways in those careers. And today we're going to be looking at careers in construction and trades. Before we get started, just want to go through some quick housekeeping. This is going to be recorded. And so if you know someone who couldn't join us today, you can tell them to visit sparkgreaterbinghamton.com and they'll be able to view the recording. And you can also go there if you haven't seen our past sessions. We have a recording up of nursing and entrepreneurship. And for all of our students joining us, today is really about you guys. We want you to use this time and the expert panelists that we have here to be able to ask them questions. So please use the Q&A feature. And a special thanks to Matt Sheehan, CTE Principal at BOCES, and Gina Chase, Interim Director of Career and Academic Services at SUNY Broome. Not only have they helped put together this program, they're also managing that Q&A. So please engage with us and use that. So let's talk about constructions and trades. I'm going to give you guys just some regional information first. So looking at the 4-county region, Broome, Shenango, Delaware, and Tioga, the average annual salary for someone in the construction and trades is just over $54,000. And that's been a 3% increase in the past 10 years. Our regional employment, we have about 6,000 individuals working in these sectors. That's been pretty steady. It's about a 1.4% decrease in the past 10 years. And the annual demand is about 559 jobs. So that means that those jobs are opening up from retirement or other job turnover. Now, when we look at the staffing patterns, some of the most demanded occupations in this industry include construction laborers, carpenters, electrician, first line supervisors, plumbers, pipe fitters, and steam fitters. And so I'm really excited because we have some amazing panelists today. You're going to get to hear from some educators who help prepare folks to enter these career fields. We even have a business owner with us who can talk to you about the opportunities within their business in this field. And we've got some folks who are working in these fields who can tell you more about their day-to-day experience. We've got Ann Williams, a council representative with the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, Local 277. We have Mason Merlot, a service technician with Mirabito Energy Products. Dan Coleman, BOCES instructor. Rochelle Ferrero, she works with WANO, Women and Apprentices and Non-Traditional Occupations, as the project director, and that's through the Workforce Development Board. We have Tom Yevy, the Binghamton line supervisor with NYSEG, and we've got our NYSEG crew there. So we also have Brett Pendorf, the first class lineman, and Rich Dunn, our chief. We have Max Jones, the principal and co-owner of J&K Plumbing and Heating. And we have Ken Marble, co-chair of the Engineering Technology Department at SUNY Broome Community College. And so I'll let you guys just say a quick hello, and then we'll dive into some questions that'll help you introduce yourselves and talk a little bit more about your fields. And so I'll turn it over. Ian, you want to say hi to everyone?
Yeah, sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ian Williams. I'm a council representative with the North Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters. My offices are based in Syracuse, Binghamton, and Horseheads, New York, and I kind of go between all three. And I'm also the apprenticeship coordinator. So if any of you decide to get into carpentry as a career later on down the road, there's a good chance you might bump into me somewhere.
Thank you, Ian. Mason, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hey everyone, I'm Mason Merlot. I'm a service technician with Mirabito. I'm out of Norwich, but we have bases out of Greene, Binghamton, and other regional areas. But right now, I'm the service tech who just works in a van, and I'm working my way up. So we'll see.
Awesome, thank you. And Dan?
Hey guys, I'm Dan Coleman. I'm the heavy equipment repair and operations teacher up at Brimtag BOCES. And this is our classroom, but we also have carpentry, masonry, plumbing, and electricity programs that we run here at BOCES.
Awesome, and you've got a somewhat nice day out there. All
A
right.
little chilly, but we'll take it.
Yeah. Rochelle, you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi, everyone. My name is Rochelle Farrow. I'm the project director of the Women's Apprenticeship Program here in Utica, New York, and I'm very excited to give you some information about the program coming up.
Thank you. And our NYSEG crew, Tom, Brett, and Rich.
Hi, guys. My name is Tommy F. Chenitz. I'm a supervisor here at NYSEG, Binghamton, New York.
Brett Pendor, first class for NYSEG Binghamton.
And my name is Rich Dunn, and I work alongside these gentlemen, and we actually represent the 4 counties that you were speaking on, Delaware, Tioga, Shenango, and Broome. So there's quite a vast variety of them.
Awesome, thanks guys. And Max?
Hi, I'm Max Jones. I'm a co-owner of J&K Plumbing and Heating. We're a HVAC and plumbing contractor here in central New York. We have an office down in Binghamton. It's our main office, and our fabricating shop's located in Binghamton. And we also have an office up in the Albany, the Capital District. So look forward to chatting with you today.
Thank you. And then we also have Ken with us.
Hello, my name is Kenneth Marble. I'm the co-chair of the Engineering Technology Department here at SUNY Broome. Specifically, I run the Manufacturing Technology, Mechanical Engineering Technology, and the Electrical Engineering Technology Department. And we also have a Civil Engineering Technology Department here.
Thanks, Ken. And what's that cool equipment that you have behind you?
That is our brand new 5-axis CNC mill.
Wow, awesome. Well, I'm going to start off with a couple of questions for our panelists and students that are joining us. I hope you will join in to ask some questions yourself. And so I first want to ask Ian, what attracted you to carpentry?
Sure. So when I was in high school, I guess probably about getting up into the 8th and 9th grades, same age range. And, they told me I should really seriously start thinking about a career or what I want to do. Do I want to go to college? Do I want to go to a technical school? I was really uncertain of exactly what I was interested in. So I got into a carpentry program at the local BOCES, which allowed me to get my credits for graduation without, the English and the math and the science. And it gave me a lot more hands-on time, which I liked. I wasn't a big fan of writing essays and doing paperwork. So I went through the carpentry program. I picked up on it really well. I got good. And I ended up working out in the field for a little bit before I got into the apprenticeship program for the union. I did a lot of residential and some open shop commercial carpentry. And then nothing really panned out. I went back to college for a year. And then when I found out that the Carpenters Union was hiring through their apprenticeship, I went and applied. And when I got in, it really turned into a lifelong career for me. And I guess at the time I didn't understand how well you could do and how much money you could make and how much fun the work was. It just I just fell into it, really. I mean, I didn't have any set plans. I didn't have a real good idea of what I was doing. And I just kind of let life lead the way, so to speak. But it actually ended up turning into a very good career with benefits. I've learned a lot. And I think the part that I like and I found most satisfying about it was, you're never in the same place. The scenery changes. If you build a building, and they're all a little bit different, you're never doing the same thing all day, every day. It doesn't get boring. It's just really a lot of fun once you get good at it. And you get to change your scenery every once in a while. So I like a lot about it now that I think about it.
Great, thank you. My next question, Mason. So as a technician, what does your average day look like?
Well, my average day really isn't that average. I'm always like Ian in different scenarios, situations, different places. We do everything from like simple cleanings on the furnaces and boilers and stuff, and then we diagnose problems and figure out scenarios that we just don't know. We collaborate brains here, so. And then we do installs. We install boilers, furnaces, hot waters, you name it, we really install it. So on an average, we're constantly working. We don't really, slow down, especially during the winter season is our busy season. So as of right now, our average days have not been average. We have been really at it. So it's been busy.
Awesome. And you had mentioned that you had kind of a unique path to becoming a service technician. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. So I didn't really go through like the trade schools or anything like that. I recommend doing something. If you're interested in becoming a service technician, I recommend getting as much knowledge as possible. Fortunately for me, I fell into it, so I got hired as a helper for a different business, and I learned on my own. I've had great supporters, but a lot of the times, it's just a hands-on thing you see from other people. So with the way that I've done it is I've always wanted to climb up the ladder. So everything that possibly could progress or make myself succeed, I've jumped on that bandwagon. So like I said, if I could have done it a different way, it would have been get different knowledge and go and do classes or trade school or something like that. But fortunately for me, I landed in a good spot. So
thank you. And Dan, I'm so glad we're getting to tour your BOCES classroom now. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the BOCES CTE programs and what are some of the opportunities for graduates in these programs?
Sure. So the Center for Career and Technical Excellence right at Broome-Tagga BOCES, we have a huge variety of programs, but the construction trades programs are heavy equipment, repair and operation, which is one of the classes, which is the class I teach. We also have carpentry, plumbing, electrical, and masonry, all as their own programs. And we're very hands-on. Like Ian said, our students, as I move around, you can see my students are out operating today. This is half of my class. The other half of my class is in the shop where we do repair work on our equipment as well. But a majority of our time is spent hands-on. We do some book work. There is math, science, and English, but it's less than you'd have in your traditional school. And it's all applied to the trade. So it's all stuff that matters. There's never the question, when am I ever going to use this? Everything we do is directly related to the trade you're learning. And the other great thing is while you're in high school, it's free. And you can, if you start off in my program and you realize you don't like heavy equipment, you have options to find what you like when you're in high school. Instead of fumbling through careers and changing jobs, you can figure it out before you get to that point.
Thanks, Dan. And I'm excited. We've actually got some questions coming through from our students. And so the first question for our folks who are in the field, how have you been handling your jobs during COVID? Anyone want to reflect on how COVID's impacted you guys in the construction and trades?
COVID actually, it almost put a damper on working, not necessarily with the work was still coming in, but we had to take our job a little bit more, step back, use the 6 feet, wear our masks. I'm in people's houses every day. So not only am I worried about customer satisfaction now, I'm worried about customer health. I'm worried about, these customers being comfortable with, strangers in their homes. So anything that I could have done to better their situation was also bettering mine. So I'm glad that we didn't quit working. I'm just glad that the customers allowed us to wear our masks and feel comfortable enough to let us in.
Thanks, Mason. Anyone else want to reflect on how their work may have changed with COVID?
Yeah, that was really well put. Same scenario with us. We deal with customers on a regular basis. A lot of the times on the big jobs, you have potentially hundreds of tradespeople, electricians, carpenters, plumbers, sheet metal workers. We're all on the same job together, and we all got to protect each other. So we got to follow the guidelines. It does slow the progression of the job down to an extent, but the contractors all have to follow the rules and the laws, and make sure that they're following protocols for the safety of everybody on the job.
Thanks, Ian. Before I move on, did anyone else want to answer that question?
Yeah, I guess one of the, daily impacts on our work in plumbing and heating, there's any common tools or if you're using a piece of equipment, a lift, New York State put together a plethora of guidelines to kind of help with some of these common touch surfaces in terms of cleaning and how to trace your contacts throughout the day. So, like Ian touched on, it does impact your day to day. We determine that it's about an hour of an impact on an 8-hour day between cleaning and tracing your contacts.
Wow. Thank you. And we had another question come through asking, what is the hardest part of your job?
I'd say maybe the hardest part of my job is, coming up to a scenario where you don't know the answer. You have jobs where you go there and they have no heat, they have a leak or something like that, and there's a part that's just throwing it off just a little bit so that it's not running right. You're going to run into those situations. Fortunately, they come up with devices so that you can figure out and calibrate things and figure it out. But a lot of the times I lean upon my peers, my support system is the people around me who may have experienced something like this before, or maybe they don't know, and we just collaborate our brains together a little bit. So it takes a minute to figure it out, but the toughest part is definitely trying to figure out the problem to make people happy.
Yeah, I guess just like in regular life, I mean, the most difficult part of this job can be some struggles, fears, things like that you might have to overcome depending on what you're working on. Some of the materials that we work with are heavy, and it can be a struggle to get things into place, but we work in teams and we all help each other out to make it easier. Sometimes when you're working on a tall building, you might be on the outside working on the exterior, and you might be on scaffolding. And if you have a problem with heights, that could be something that it might take some time to overcome till you're comfortable with working off from scaffolding or out of a boom lift or a scissor lift, so you're up in the air quite a ways and trying to perform the same kind of work that you would be performing on the ground. It's some things like that can come across as a challenge, and you just got to overcome it. But you come out in the end and you're stronger, and you're a better carpenter or a better worker or a better laborer for it. And at the end of the day, it makes you more valuable, in your job.
Thank you, Ian. What about our folks over at NYSEG? What's the hardest part of being in that lineman field?
Well, for a lineman, you get called a lot in the middle of the night, and usually when the weather is the worst is when we're getting called out. So, it's that, and rain, snow, wind. Usually we're working no matter what to get the lights on. And also we do a lot of mutual aid all throughout, the Northeast pretty much. So you're away for 2 to 3 weeks sometimes at a time when storms hit, just trying to help everybody else out. We service Central Maine Power, Rochester General Electric, UI out of Connecticut, and then NYSEG. We're all owned by the same OPCO, and so we try to help each other out when we can. If they get hit, we'll go there. If we get hit, they come here. But it's a lot of long hours, and you're usually working in pretty bad weather.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add anything? We can keep going. We got more questions are coming through, so I appreciate the students.
That's great.
Awesome.
Well, Maureen, I've seen a lot of I've seen a lot of questions about what's my big wrench for. So this big wrench, this helps me with oil tanks. We do a lot of oil tank installs. That includes taking taking out the old oil tank, and old oil tanks, they could be there from 20 to 60 years. People have these in their basement. So the pipe dope or whatever they use as a sealant, that gets hard, and it's hard to, or rust build up. It's hard to turn things out. So this is my best friend. If anybody's asking, this is my best friend, and it's a 3-foot pipe wrench, and it's gotten me out of a lot of jams. So that's what this is for.
Thanks, Mason. I'm going to throw a question over to Rochelle. So what are some of the opportunities that you see with females interested in the field? And do you want to tell us a little bit more about apprenticeships maybe?
Yeah, I'm going to give you guys just an overview of the Want To project. So I work for the Workforce Development Board. I'm the project director of the grant. We're located in downtown Utica, and we are one of 6 agencies around the US to get awarded this grant. So I'm very excited to be working on it. We got awarded it in September, and it runs until September 2020 or 2022, excuse me. And we're supposed to be serving 200 women, 18 and up, and they have to live or work within the 17 county region. And I know we serve Broome, Shenango, Delaware, and Tioga. I think those were the 4 that you guys did mention, but we also serve Fulton, Hamilton, Herkimer, Jefferson, Lewis, Madison, Montgomery, Oneida, Onondaga, Otsego, Schoharie, St. Lawrence, and Tompkins. I will send everybody who's interested in learning a little bit more a brochure about the program that lists everything that I'm going to be saying. But a non-traditional occupation is occupations where women comprise 25% of those employed. So we are trying to reach out to the women who want to get involved with occupations such as the trades, everything that you guys talked about, the information technology, which is IT, advanced manufacturing, transportation, engineering, farming, you name it. So I'm very excited to see students asking some questions, because I think women can do these career fields, and it's important to get them interested in it. Because college is definitely not for everybody, which is totally fine. Women can gain a lot of a ton of knowledge when they do pre-apprenticeships and apprenticeship programs. They can gain economic self-sufficiency, higher wages, better benefits, advancement for potential, and job satisfaction. And I'm definitely interested in hearing from the employers out there and the unions of what skills you guys are looking for when women apply with you guys. We can definitely help you guys upskill them. I don't know if they need to work on like math skills or hands-on skills. That's the stuff I definitely want to know. That way we can work together moving forward, getting women in these construction fields.
Well, Rochelle, we actually had a question come through from a student also asking about skills. So let's hear from our folks who are in the field and our employers. What are some of the skills you guys are looking for with someone who may want to enter this field?
Maureen, I think the biggest thing to get started with any entry-level position is having good soft skills, being able to show up, being reliable for your coworkers, and having an open mind. At least for our industry, plumbing and pipe fitting and HVAC, you're not going to have all the technical skill set coming out of high school, nor do we expect you to. It's an opportunity to learn every day. For us, through our internship and apprenticeship programs, it's an opportunity to get paid to learn while you're working. So, you come in with an open mind, we'll sharpen all your technical skills as long as you have good soft skills.
And Miss, can you explain a little bit on those J&K apprenticeships and the co-ops that you guys offer for anyone who's interested?
Sure. We work with BOCES here in Broome County to do an internship program with high school students that are in the construction trades program. Last year we had 7 interns in between our pipe shop and our sheet metal shop. This year we have 5 between our pipe shop and our sheet metal shop. Men, women, you name it. So students come in, they'll typically work 2 hours a day in our shops, and they'll get paid to work just as an employee, any employee for us. kind of moving forward after high school, there's an opportunity to join our company as an apprentice, whether it's on our open shop sheet metal side or on our union plumbing side. You go to school after your work hours for 4 years. You learn various topics, of your choosing, whether it's service or welding or whatever you're interested in. And then you join the workforce as a journeyman after. So, yeah.
Thank you. And did anyone else want to talk a little bit about the skills? Ian, I think you're about to say something, sorry.
Yeah, I'll jump in just because, we're very similar to what Max was just describing as far as their apprenticeship on their union plumbing side. So we have a 5-level program, which is completed in a 4-year term and very similar. So it really helps to get into a building or construction trades, like a carpentry program at the BOCES. Because there are certain requirements that we have to qualify for our apprenticeship. You don't necessarily have to have it, but it definitely helps. Soft skills is huge. Again, touching on that. The most important thing and the best way to keep a job is to show up for work every day and be on time. And that seems to be the issue a lot of the time. But I mean, anyone can do this. We have touching on, was it Rochelle? I believe, touching on her program. We have a similar program for women in the construction industry. We have what's called a Sisters in the Brotherhood pre-apprenticeship program, which is a direct lead right into our certified apprenticeship. So we do something similar, and I'll probably work with Rochelle on that a little bit later, just to touch base with her. But if at any time you decide that this is the career path for you, you probably want to get into a BOCES carpentry program. But honestly, at the end of the day, if you can read a tape measure, we can teach you the rest.
Thanks, Ian. And let's hear from Dan and Ken. What are some of the skills that you see in your most successful students?
I would say that, first of all, that, the coming every day and being on time is huge for all the trades, and having some desire to do hard work. I mean, I think after that, we can teach people anything, but they have to have that desire to be successful and a work ethic and a willingness to be there every day. So that's what we look for in our students, and the students that we're looking to send out on co-ops are the students that do those things the best. So.
Thanks, Dan. And Ken, what about the students in the engineering technology programs? What skills make them successful?
I think I'm going to echo what a lot of people say is coming to school, coming to class every day, making sure you talk to your professor. One of the things that we like to see is you got to have some math skills coming in, because that's the foundation of everything we do here is the math. So having strong math skills do help out a lot coming in. The rest we can teach you.
Awesome. And we have another question, and this may also be for you, Ken. Does anyone participate in the engineering field or something to do with it?
Well, the great thing about the programs we have here is you can take as much or as little as you want. We have manufacturing technology programs where you learn how to use like the machines that I have behind me. You can go into like a mechanical engineering technology program, which is a 2-year degree. And you can stop there, or you can go on to a 4-year degree from there to another school. Same with the electrical engineering technology programs. So really it's as little or as much as you want to take it as far as how much schooling you want. But you can go on to, like I said, either a 2-year or 4-year college after this.
Thank you. And we had someone else ask, and I know the answer is yes for Mason, but what about everyone else? Are we working in the winter?
Of course, we do a lot of heating contracts. We do a lot of plumbing contracts, and you'll see from going around the community here, when a building's being put up, it doesn't stop in the winter. There's things you do to kind of prepare for the winter, enclose the outer shell of the building to be able to progress right through. So, speaking for us and what we do, we are busy all through the winter.
Yeah, here at BOCES, we're outside all year round. I mean, when there's a lot of snow on the ground, we haul snow on campus, so we help out our campus. But we have our loaders and skid steers out in the parking lots, loading trucks and hauling snow out of the parking lots. So there's room for more snow. And we've been outside. We're outside every day that we can be, because that's the reality of the field. And if you're going to work in construction, you're going to work when it's cold and hot, and every day there's a job to do. So we try and teach that here, so we get a good foundation.
Awesome. And we had another question come through. How long does it take to do the heavy equipment? And I'm thinking, Dan, that might be the heavy equipment program that you guys have with BOCES.
Yeah, so all of our programs here at Brum-Tagga BOCES are 2-year programs. Our students are juniors and seniors. They're here for half a day for their junior year, half a day for their senior year. And they spend the rest of the time at their home school doing their academics. But this is just like the tip of the iceberg as far as your training, right? Even coming through here, you're going to go work for a contractor. You're still going to go through training with them. They're going to show you the way that they want you to do it. I tell my students all the time that I'm telling you how I want it done, but the guy that signs your paycheck, his way's right. Don't ever go to your boss and say, that's not what Mr. Coleman told me, because their way is the right way and they're paying your salary. So, but your training never ends, right? You hopefully can get into a job. And if you're smart, you're always going to keep learning new things.
Thank you.
He nailed it.
And so we had another question come through. What are the work hours like? And our folks at NICE, they talked about being on call, and some folks were asking a little bit more about what that looks like too.
We could go, a typical day is 7 to 3:30, but if we're running trouble or storm, let's just say, go back just to Sunday night, just recently when the wind started Sunday afternoon. I think Brett and Richie probably pulled 20 hours. They worked from probably noontime on Sunday to 10, 11 o'clock in the morning Monday. So, I mean, we go on storm, we're usually on a 17-hour on shift and 7 hours rest. So we work up to 20, 24 hours sometimes, but a typical day is 7 to 3:30.
But it's never like that. There's always trouble going on somewhere.
What's the overtime pay like though?
Yeah, it helps out. It's easier to come in.
There you go.
Ian, what about
Mike-
for you in carpentry? What are your hours like?
Very similar, actually. 7 to 3:30 is a typical day. Depending on what's going on, sometimes the contractors will adjust. And in the summertime, guys like to work 6 to 2:30 if they're out of the sun a little bit earlier. Overtime is always a possibility. They have what's called liquidated damages on some projects. And what that means is that there's a deadline that they have to meet. This is the date that was given that the project was set to be complete. And if it's not done on that day, then the contractor is liable for paying, just for example, it could be $5,000 a day, every day after that deadline. If they didn't meet that deadline, they have to pay what it's called liquidated damages. So in order to avoid that at all costs, that's when you really start to see the overtime kick in. You work Saturdays, it's time and a half. Sundays are double time. Anything over 8 hours is time and a half. So you really get to see the overtime kick in, usually on projects with a solid deadline. So when you get close to that date, they get a little bit nervous and they start to work some overtime, but the money's great. So it all comes back full circle in the end.
And Mason,
And heavy equipment is pretty similar. They do tend to work more when the weather's good. So in the summer, I work for a paving contractor, and 12 or 14-hour days are not uncommon when the weather's good. But when it's raining, you have the day off. So it all kind of works out in the end. But it's definitely like a make hay while the sun is shining kind of situation for a lot of these jobs. And when the job's there and it needs to get done, that's when you're working, and you might have time off when it's not.
And just to piggyback off that, every customer has a deadline that they want to see, and sometimes the customer will also push, work hours onto you as well. If it's a school project, when school's in session, you're talking working after hours when there's no students around. Could be a hospital project where you have to be sensitive to patients around, and you're working off hours as well. So a lot of times it's project dependent upon, you know, what you're trying to accomplish for your customer.
Thank you.
So in the service technician business here, so it's kind of hard not to get overtime. Our typical day is 8 to 4:30, but in my Norwich division here, there's only 2 service techs, so we're on call every other week. So one week he's on call, then the next week I'm on call, and I go do my normal average day life. And then I come back, and if there's no heat, somebody's got no heat, or there's multiple people with no heat, I'm out. My van's going back and forth to customers' houses getting them heat. So like I told you in the beginning, I strive off of customer satisfaction. So the overtime is nothing compared to what I try to do for the customers themselves. So like I said, it's hard to not get overtime.
Thanks, everyone. All right, so I want to kind of go back to our NICEAG guys. Going into becoming a lineman, and we've got line supervisors and chiefs. What were some of the pathways that you guys took to get there?
Well, I could say that my pathway was when I hired into NICEAG, I was a construction worker. I worked outside, and I took a temporary meter reader job here at NICEAG. And from that, it turned into the line apprenticeship program through the company, which is also a 4-year program similar to the carpenters and plumbers. And I was an apprentice, first class, chief, and then as of last year, I took the job in the office as a supervisor. Brett went to line school outside of the company, so he could speak about that.
Yeah, I did line clearance, trimming for Nelson, Asplund for a couple years, and decided I want to do something different. So my brother and I, we packed up and we went to a lineman college out in Idaho. It's about $20,000, but you come out as you're a certified climber. It gives you a lot of good book work and understanding of electricity. So it gives you a really good jump start. And through that, I took a job in New Hampshire, worked for Public Service in New Hampshire for roughly 3 years. And I came on with NICEAG about 8 years ago as a second class, which is a little more advanced than an apprentice. And I did 2 more years to top out. So it's been a good job. You do something new every day.
Thank you. We had another question come through from our students, and they're kind of asking about the diversity within your guys' field. Anyone want to talk about diversity in their field and the folks they get to work with?
Yeah, of course. You know, as an employer, I mean, we look for anyone with skill sets. So there's, I mean, in terms of diversity, you know, it's just a matter of your skills and your willingness to learn on a day-to-day basis. So, I mean, in terms of diversity, you know, anyone who comes through our door is welcome to work. Anyone who comes through our door is given an opportunity, and that goes for pretty much every employer in New York State.
Thank you, Max.
When talking about diversity, I wouldn't really say that there is any in where I come from. I mean, like Max said, anyone that walks through the door, they're going to have the opportunity if they, you know, have a mindset like they want to work or they want to learn. Most of the guys here, at least that's how I came in. Most of the guys were open winged. We're going to take you under our wing. Everybody becomes family quick. When I came to Mirabito, I didn't know a single soul here. And the first day, I thought I would be nervous. I thought I would be, you know, have the jitters or whatever. I didn't. I came in, they treated me like family, and I was willing to work for them and work with them. So it helps.
Yeah, I guess tools don't really care what color you are, what you believe, you know, any of that. It's just a matter of you using them and how you use them. So, yeah.
Thank you, guys. And so next, I actually want to ask you some questions. So what are the type of jobs that are available at J&K? You talked about the apprenticeships, but what are the positions that you hire for after?
Sure. So we have, a whole host of possibilities. We have a service group, HVA service group. So similar to what Mason does on a day-to-day basis. We have a book of clients that we maintain their equipment, and we have folks that are on call to help them with any issues that come up. We have engineers on staff that help with CAD design. Sometimes we'll get into design build scenarios where a customer maybe has an idea and they need some help executing it. So we'll work with them to come up with a feasible solution and an accurate solution for them. That was my pathway into the industry. I went to a 4-year engineering school after high school. We have, a whole host of folks that work out in the field, whether as a journeyman plumber, pipe fitter, welder, sheet metal installer. We also have a manufacturing facility on the sheet metal side of things where, you're going into basically a factory setting every day to build ductwork and ductwork accessories to go into different buildings that we're building. So there's quite a few pathways at J&K. We even have folks from BCC who came to us to work in our accounts payable, our accounts receivable, our HR department. So there's a whole host of opportunities.
Thank you. Well, speaking of SUNY Broome, I wonder if we can hear a little bit more from you about the programs and maybe what are some of the classes that students find most exciting and what kind of employment opportunities do students find after completing those programs?
Well, I might be a little biased, but I think my class is the one the students like the most. We get to do a little hands-on work with the manual machines. We have a manual mills, manual lathes. They get to build a project towards the end of the year, during the year for a final project. And then we go on and start learning how to use the equipment behind me, the CNC machines and stuff like that. Students really enjoy that, seeing that type of stuff run. As far as things that people could do afterwards, like I said, it's really up to the student and how long they want to go to school. If you want to do like the manufacturing program, they learn how to use the equipment we have here. They can go on to machine shops and stuff like that to utilize the equipment. We have a 2-year program. Generally, that a lot of that students go on and do like CAD design, things like that. But then they can go on to the 4-year school to do more of the, I would say mechanical engineering tech is more of a hands-on type engineer as opposed to theory-based engineer. So they're a lot more hands-on in the laboratories and making stuff that the mechanical engineers think of. They're the ones that build a lot of the stuff that we think of. So that's kind of some different areas they can go into.
Thank you. All right, so students want to know, and I feel like there's just some really exciting closing questions, right? What's the favorite part of your job? Maybe Ian,
My favorite part of my job is coming in the morning. I come in, I've got jobs. I've got a job. I get to come in, I get to work. So my favorite part is actually being able to show up, be accountable, I like being present. I like seeing the people I work with every day. I go home and sometimes I call up the other service tech just to talk. I like coming in. I like having this little family here. And my favorite part would probably be if I'm struggling, I know I've got somebody that's got my back. So.
Yeah, I like that. I can play off from that a little bit. We had a young lady apprentice just recently. I think she said it best. She said when she came in the apprenticeship program, she felt like she was kind of adopted by a bunch of aunts and uncles, branching out her family, so to speak. And I think that's really important. And that's probably one of my favorite parts of the job is creating those relationships and meeting new people. And, every day is something different. It's exciting. You change your scenery on a regular basis. You finish one job, you move to the next. You're not staring at the back of a cubicle or at a computer screen all day long. And just the people that you can meet. There's so many. We have 28,000 carpenters in our council that covers all the New England states. And we have 2,700 carpenters in just our local that I represent and I get to work with on a regular basis. And there's just so many I have so many great relationships and so many great memories, over the years working in the field. And that's probably my favorite part.
And I think one of the big things is that, all of us, we wouldn't have a job if there wasn't problems, right? We all are problem solvers to a certain degree. So, being able to kind of keep an open mind and work collaboratively with others to solve a common goal. I mean, that's what all of our jobs end up boiling down to on a day-to-day. And, with COVID going on, it's been a privilege to work, more than anything, it's allowed us to kind of reflect and say, we're thankful that we have a job. Speaking for J&K, we've been able to work right along, but it is a privilege, like Mason identified, to be able to go to work every day and work with others.
The thing I've always liked about working in the trades is I go in the morning and I can see what I did at the end of the day every day. So that's always been when I worked in the trades, but teaching now, when I can see my students 3 years down the road at the fair, I love going to the fair because I run into tons of my students and they tell me about the jobs they're doing now 3 years later. That's the favorite part of my job as a teacher. But
Well, Dan, I'm glad you asked that because we actually just had another question come through. I think you're getting everyone excited by letting them see all the heavy equipment you guys are operating there. And speaking of those graduates, they're asking what kind of work does it lead to? Talking just a little bit more about the equipment that you guys are using.
sure. So my students mostly end up in either farming or construction for my particular class. So my students, when they're in school, they learn to operate excavators, backhoes, skid steers, loaders. We do offer a CDLB program so that you can drive a dump truck. So a CDLB would be like a straight dump truck with no trailer. We do that for our students if they're interested, which is a huge opportunity. If you can drive a truck, you'll always have a job right now. There's such a high demand for truck drivers. Last year when COVID happened, about 2/3 of my students were able to find jobs in March. Like as soon as school shut down, I started having kids say, "Hey, I got offered this job," and I'd say, "That's great. You can do your schoolwork at night. Go work," because those opportunities are there for my students. In the last few years, every one of my students that wanted to work in the field has found a job right away. So it's a lot of laborers, farmers. I have a few kids that are truck drivers. I have some kids that went to work for New York State DOT at 18. They're driving plow trucks for DOT because they came out of here with their license. And then I have a handful of kids that go in the military. There's lots of different opportunities, heavy equipment related opportunities in the military. And I do have kids that go on to college. They get this background and they go into construction management. There are heavy equipment operations programs at Alfred State. There's lots of different diesel tech programs as well. So there's a huge variety of places you can go after you go to CT, to Career Tech Ed. So you don't have to go right to work either. There's college programs for all of these trades as well.
Thank you, Dan. I didn't mean to cut off our other folks. What are some of the other things that folks want to share about what they love about their job?
I don't know if anybody else is going to answer it, but I knew I would get a question where I didn't have a solid one answer. And I just want to say that another one of my favorite things about my job, and I've said it 2 times now, I'm going to say it again, is customer satisfaction. I like knowing that I'm going there, these customers are not happy, and I leave with people smiling back at me. So that's one of my favorite things to do, is just get a smile before I leave. Like, these people are like wintertime, they've got no heat. I go there, they're freezing, they're shaking. And then by the time I leave, they're just smiling and saying, "Thank you very much." So I knew I'd get one of those questions.
Thank you, Mason. What about our folks at NYSEG? Aside from working in the cold weather, what are some of the things that you guys like in your jobs?
Just being able to help people out, they're freezing cold and you obviously can't do much without electricity. So it's nice to be able to pull up to a job. And then by the time we leave, they have power and they're very appreciative of it. It's like a brotherhood. All the guys, there's like 34 linemen here, I think, in Vestal, and we all have each other's backs. If anybody needed anything, we would be there in a heartbeat. So it's just nice to work with some good guys and help people out.
Thank you. Rochelle, what about working with, women in apprenticeship? What do you find really enjoyable about that? Or what are some of the folks you work with found enjoyable?
It's just nice to actually, work with females that want to go into these type of career fields, honestly. Because a lot of the females that dominate other occupations like nursing, let's see, they go into, office work, but there's so many more opportunities, especially in this area, the Utica area. We have the hospital going up, we have the Cree site going up. So there's a ton of construction jobs around. And, since I'm working with 17 counties, the opportunities are huge. And listening to all you guys, just the jobs, it sounds very interesting. And I think a female could do it. And I'm interested in the linemen that just spoke. Do you guys have any females on your team?
We do not right now. We have had females come through in the past. And actually, I was in line school with one. Richie
too.
was
I
in
was
line
too.
school with
Yeah.
another one.
She stayed with it.
That's good. That's good to hear.
She stayed with it, and then she went on to a different position in Oneonta. She was out of Oneonta. But
Mhm.
she stuck with it. She went through, she graduated, in the apprentice school with us, and then she went on to a different position since then. But yeah, she definitely stuck through it.
I think it's really important too with, in high school and BOCES classes to get females interested in these fields then, I wish I honestly knew about apprenticeships when I went to high school, because I think I probably would have taken that route rather than college. I mean, I'm here now, I love my job, but I think it's really important, and you guys are doing a great job. And I hopefully all the students online right now really get a feel for what you guys do and go into these fields. I think it's really important, and you guys do a really good job. So thanks.
And I think we've got one last question. Speaking of, you guys have done a really great job depicting the work that you do. And so one of our students wants to know if anyone who watches the CBS show Tough as Nails, is that accurate?
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty accurate. It's a little bit exaggerated in the sense that, some of the tasks that they're put up to do on the show are their time. So they're rushed, to complete certain tasks, which leads to there's a certain level of danger involved there too. And we are very, very big on safety. We want everybody to go to work. And if you need to, take your time to do it right and make sure that you don't get hurt, because we want everyone to go home to their family at the end of the day, unscathed, unscarred, but the physicality that's involved in some of the tasks that they do is very much real. So it is a lot of these different trades, it's hard work. But we worked, like I said earlier, we work together in teams to make sure that it's not any harder than it has to be. And we're as safe as we can possibly be to get the job done. I was actually, my local union actually sponsored me, and they want me to go and interview and try and get on that show. Actually,
Yeah.
We'll see how it turns out, but it looks like a lot of fun. But like I said, when you're trying to perform certain tasks like that and you're pressed for time, it's very easy to get into the mindset that, forget the harness, forget the lanyard, just run up the ladder as fast as you can and get it done before the end of the day. And that's usually how people get hurt.
Well, thank you, Ian. And speaking of being pressed for time, I know we couldn't get to all of our students' great questions. So I'm going to try and collect all these questions and put together a little Q&A sheet. So panelists, you're going to get more emails from me because you just got everyone's interest sparked so well that they've got more questions. So again, that website is sparkgreaterbinghamton.com. So check that out for this recording, and we'll get some follow-up questions there as well too. I want to thank all of our students for joining. I hope you enjoyed today's program. Really appreciate your thoughtful questions. Our next Spark program is going to be on April 20th, and we're going to be highlighting dentistry for that program. And I can't thank our panelists enough for joining us and taking time out of your busy days to help spark this interest in construction and trades. And I know you are mentioning that you don't always spend time sitting in front of a computer. So I know this was really different not being in the field, and appreciate you guys taking that time and sharing your experiences and the rewards and the challenges that you guys face. And I do believe that Matt Sheehan has a brief slide to share with where folks can go for some additional information. So check out, there were such great questions about the BOCES programs. Start doing your research, looking into those now. And Ken mentioned all the wonderful programs that Broome offers, whether you want to go into a 2-year program and get into the workforce or transfer. And like Max said, a lot of these programs through BOCES, they're going to lead you to apprenticeship and work opportunities. And so there's lots of great opportunities right here in our community to continue your study. So do your research, keep looking into things. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. This has been a really great experience. I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of their Tuesday, and we look forward to seeing our students again. And panelists, we've got more questions, so please keep your eye out from that email. Thank you guys again.